So, folks, there's this organization called World Athletics, and it has announced that it's going to do mandatory sex testing for female competitions and competitors. So that's cool. Um, and I think it raises a number of interesting questions. Specifically because you know what's gonna wind up happening here, is that inevitably they're going to end this practice. I do not believe that it is a sustainable thing to do. Um, because frankly, people are not as homogenous as a lot of the folks advocating for sex testing would have you believe. Within the category of cisgender woman, there is a wide diversity of biological manifestations of cisgender womanness as a concept. It is a broad category that includes many people of different biological makeups. And I think that there are a lot of people who are currently very bigoted who are going to be like, wait a minute, but my biology is non-standard. What does that mean for me? And there's gonna be enough of those people because shocking number of those people exist. Yeah, lots of lawsuits incoming, indeed, mini me. I do not think that this policy can stand up under the weight of like time and litigation. That being said, this sucks. Obviously, it sucks for trans women, and it sucks for, intersex women, and it sucks for, cis women who have different, like, biology that differentiates itself from like the, homogenous norm of whatever we've agreed woman is. Um, They realize cis women have some testosterone too, right? One would think they would, and yet here we are. And yes, exactly, Snoogan. That is kind of the looming shadow at the end of an end state of a approach like this, which is I'm just going to read your comment. Anytime you create a template of the perfect genome, you are embracing eugenics. And I think a lot of people who push for policies like this think that you can have essentially like a perfect genetic woman. Like that they think that might be a thing hypothetically, which is insane. That is not possible. Um Additionally, it's interesting that they aren't applying this to men's competition, isn't it? Right? It's really interesting that this is specifically for female competitions. Um, Insane stuff. They could adopt non-invasive cheek swab tests or dry blood tests that only have to be carried out once on an athlete. This we feel is a really important way of providing confidence and maintaining the absolute focus on the integrity of competition. Uh-huh. The test would seek to verify if someone has transitioned to a female after going through male puberty or if they have differences of sex development that provided testosterone advantages. And like, yo, you are not going to like what you find with broad testing like that, you know? And, I also think that there is an element of this. Is transphobia peak brain rot? Jay, absolutely. Transphobia is like one of the I don't know, it's like the it's like I don't know, it's like a prion. It just like makes your brain into Swiss cheese. I've seen it happen to so many people in politics, just in that small pool. Is there even a broad test for that? No. No, guys, like they're gonna be looking for like Y chromosomes and like testosterone levels, and like there are a lot of different combinations of biological phenomena. Like the human body is not so simple as what they want to boil it down to, you know? And on top of that, like so interesting, right? That it's only for women. You know, there's an element of misogyny here. An element of like, well, we can do this to women because obviously women are weak and need protection. And you know, obviously if a woman tried to infiltrate men's sport, it wouldn't cause anything bad to happen. You know, it wouldn't upset fairness. It would be unfair to her, you know, when they talk about trans men. Um it is that fundamental dynamic that I've explained on the show many times before when we talk about transphobia, which is that like in the minds of a lot of people who have been kind of inundated within patriarchy or with patriarchal ideas, they look at trans men and trans women, and on the one hand, they're like, well, when it comes to trans men, well, of course you'd want to be a man. Being a man is the thing everyone should want to be because it's inherently better than being a woman. And on the flip side, with trans women, they're like, this is actually incredibly disgusting on a level I find difficult to articulate because you gave up being the best thing you could be, a man.
Somewhat off topic, but did you hear about Texas' proposed haircut
Yeah.
law? Literally out of Maoist China, government approved haircuts.
Yeah, I mean, it is. But also, like, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. Like, none of these haircut laws are gonna go anywhere. They're just virtue signaling to, their constituents. Um, that being said, like, when trans women are the subject, they're like, "Hey, oh my god, I'm trying to make a point. The haircut law, it's just a law that like you have to have gender conforming haircuts. Which what the fuck does that even mean? And also, it's not enforceable. And also, like, who the fuck gives a shit about a kid's hair? So yeah, it's not enforceable. It's not going to pass into law, even in these deeply red states, because it's stupid as shit. But what I'm trying to get at here when it comes to this sporting decision is that when it comes to trans women, people are essentially like, oh, you know, people in patriarchy are essentially like, hey, you know what? You are a man and you've given up being a man, the best thing you can be. And not only that, you're trying to be a woman, the worst thing you could be. You know, you gave up all that privilege and went down to the bottom of the pecking order. And that kind of abdication of responsibility of what men have been told their entire lives is what is important to their identity. You know, that is they view it as a personal attack on the very concept and nature of what it means to be a man. And so it 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 really does come down to this inherent disgust that a lot of transphobes feel about trans women in particular is related to misogyny, and it's related fundamentally to being forced to reckon with their ideology in a way that like not much else in society forces them to consider. We, by the very nature of existing in front of them, force them to think about gender in a way that they are deeply uncomfortable with. And so that is why a lot of these pieces of legislation are not about trans boys playing in sports. It's about trans girls in high school. It's trans girls in college athletics. It's trans girls when it comes to, world athletics. And it's so awful. So fucking awful. When I first, Jason Kelly in chat writes, when I first started to wake up, I spent some time in a treatment center, and I'll never forget their demand that people dress in gender appropriate clothing. It's complete 100% bullshit. What does gender appropriate clothing have to do with sobriety? Right? Right? Nothing. And it's just, I just say all of this because we aren't going to stop existing. Trans people aren't going to stop existing. Trans women aren't going to stop existing. The question is never going to be settled in the eyes of these people who are aware of us, you know? And I hold on to that idea because no matter what happens, we will not stop existing. And therefore, eventually we will win. Their ideology is weaker than our continued perseverance and existence. And yes, this sports ban by the World Athletics Council is going to suck. But we will outlast the fuckers. And hopefully live to see a day when these people who have grown inebriated and intoxicated with hatred towards us finally wake up and see the light. Because it is not a sustainable way to live, and only leads them either to complete self-destruction or towards a better outcome, awareness, and support of trans people. I do think we will win. It is the only option at the end of our long road. So good luck to the World Athletics Council, because you're gonna need it. People are gonna fight you, and I don't think at all these stuck up old farts are ready for what's coming.